Hope everybody had a good break. So this is Lee. Lee is one of the three brothers that I had told you about that we had found across the street and that we had adopted. He's fluffy too. He's getting, whew, they're shedding. They're getting cat hair all over the place. So Lee is very playful and he's a sweet boy. Where you going though? He says, I gotta go. I woke him up from a nap. But Lee's one of those three boys. He looks a lot like Moonbeam, that other fluffy one. He's not quite as fluffy as his brother. But he is a fluffy boy too. Right, sweet boy? Huh? Lee? Tell everybody hey. He says, why'd you wake me up? I said, why'd you wake me up, huh? Alright, you can go ahead. Alright, so hopefully everybody had a good break. And we're still module 5. We're skipping lesson 28 and 29. Use those as extra practice. But with not being in school, we're going to have to be skipping some and hitting just the really important parts as we go through. We're also going to start doing 2 lessons for each video. I've gone through and I've looked to see what I can put together in order for us to be able to cover everything we need to cover, to be able to be exposed to everything before we go to 5th grade. Okay? So today we're actually looking at lesson 30 and 31. So we're doing page 200, which is part of lesson 30, and then page 207, which is part of 31. So we're adding mixed numbers. Still working with fractions. So I've got it all written out for me to look at. So we're going to do some from 30 and some from 31. All right, so to begin with, we're going to look at if we have numbers like 4 and 1/3, and we're adding this time. We're just adding 4 and 1/3 plus 1/3. Well, we have a mixed number, right? Remember, a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction. And when you have a whole number and a fraction, it's a mixed number. So we have a mixed number and we have a fraction. Well, when you're adding like this, all you have to do is just add your whole numbers together. So we have 4, and then we don't have any, right? So this would be 4 wholes, and then you just add your fractions. Now, if it helps you to write it down here and write it separate, 1/3 plus 1/3, and write it away from your whole number, then do that, okay? It's not something you have to do, but if it helps you, then do it. 1/3 plus 1/3. Remember, our denominator stays the same. You add up your numerators, 1 plus 1, we have 2/3. 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. So we have 4 wholes and 2/3. Again, if you don't need to write it, you don't have to. But that's just a little trick. Helps you sort it if you need to, okay? All right, so if we have, let's see, 5 and 1/4 plus 2/4. Again, we have a mixed number plus a fraction. When we're adding it, we add our whole numbers plus our whole numbers. Here we have 5, the whole number here. So we would have 5 wholes, 5, and then you're going to add your fractions. So again, we have 1/4 plus 2/4. We have a common denominator, so we can just leave our denominator the same. 4th plus 4th is 4ths. Add up your numerators, 1 plus 2, 3/4. Okay? So we have 5 and 3/4. All right. Let's see. So we could also have it where we have our fraction first and our mixed numbers. So we have 2/6 plus 3 and 2/6. Okay? So we have no whole number plus our whole number, so we have 3 wholes. And again, if you want, write down here 2/6 plus 2/6. We have a common denominator of 6, so we know our denominator is going to stay the same to be 6. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So 4 6. Is that my least common? Let's see. 4 6. What does that equal? What's that equivalent to? 2/3, isn't it? Remember, 4 6 is equivalent to 2/3. So that's my least common multiple. So 3 and 2/3. Okay? All right, next one. Let's see. So we have 5/8 plus 7 and 3/8. No whole number plus 7. We have 7 wholes. And then we add up our denominators, our fractions. Our denominators stay the same because they are common. So we have 5/8 plus 3/8. When we're adding, that denominator is going to stay the same. So we know it's going to be 8ths. We add up our numerator, 5 plus 3, 8/8, which we know is equivalent to 1. So we have 7 plus 1, because we just got a whole. 8/8 is equal to 1 whole. 7 plus our 1 whole down here, which equals 8 wholes. Okay? All right, let me erase some of this. I got too much on my board. All right, let's see. We have, this one. So we have 7/10. And we're going to add 6 and 6/10. Again, we have a common denominator, so we don't have to worry about that. We add up our wholes. We have no holes here, plus 6 wholes, so we have 6 wholes. And then we got to add up our fractions. 7/10 plus 6/10. We're using a common denominator, so our denominator is going to stay the same. We know we have tenths. We add up our numerator, 7 plus 6, 13. Well, we know if we have 13 tenths, that's greater than a whole. So 13 tenths, and again, if you need to go back and draw your whole, that's 10 tenths. And then you have 3/10, right? You don't have to draw the number bond, but if it helps you, draw it, okay? So we know if we have 13 tenths, we have a whole and 3/10. So we already had 6. We've got another whole, so that would be 7. And then 3/10. Okay? So we had 6 and 13/10. We didn't leave it as 13/10 because we know that's greater than a whole. We have 1 whole and 3/10. Again, if it helps you to draw it out like this, draw it out like this. If it helps you to draw the number bond to break it apart, do that. If you don't need to, that's fine. Okay? All right. Let's look at the next one. So we have 7 and 8/12 plus 11/12. Again, we have a common denominator. We're adding our mixed number to our fraction. So we have 7 wholes plus no wholes. So we would have 7 wholes, right? We would add up our fraction. We have 8. All of a sudden my pen's not wanting to write. So we have 8/12 plus 11/12. Denominator stays the same, 12. We add up our numerator, so we have 8 plus 11, 19. We know if we have 19/12, we have greater than a whole. Again, if it helps you to draw the number bond, do it. 12/12 would be 1 whole. And then we would have 7/12, right? So we started with 7 wholes, we've got another whole down here because that's equal to 1 whole and 7 twelfths. So 7 plus 1 would equal 8 and 7 twelfths. Okay? All right. Do a couple like this real quick. So if we have 3 and 5/6 plus blank equals 2 4 wholes. Can we figure out what we're missing in the blank? We could, couldn't we? Because we would just need to think about, well, what else? What else do we need? And we've done this a couple months ago now, seems like. What else do I need to make this into a whole? If I have 5/6 and I know I only need 1/6 more, don't I, to make a whole, then I would have 4. Okay? So what if we had 5 and 3/7 plus blank equals 6? Okay, same kind of problem. I've got to figure out, what do I need in order to make another whole to have 6 wholes? Right now I have 5 and part. What other part do I need? Well, if I have sevenths, I know 7/7 is a whole, so I would know I needed 4/7 more. Okay? All right, so those are the kinds of problems you're going to be working with in lesson 30. Now, the difference between 30 and 31 is only that they add another, it's 2 mixed numbers. First we were doing just a mixed number and a fraction. Now it's just adding 2 mixed numbers. So for example, if we had 2 and 2/5 plus 2 and 2/5. Okay? So we have a mixed number and we're adding it to another mixed number. It's the same process. You're going to add your whole numbers, then you're going to add your fractions. Okay? Now, if it helps you to write it separate, so I would write my whole numbers, 2 plus 2, that equals 4, right? And then underneath, write your fractions, separate your fractions. So we have 2/5 plus 2/5. Denominator is going to stay the same to be fifths, and 2 plus 2 is 4. And then just put your 2 parts together. This would equal 4 and 4/5. Now, if it helps you to write it out as your whole numbers and your fractions and then add them, do it. If you don't need to, then you don't have to. Okay? It just depends on, again, what your math brain needs. Like I've been telling us all year long, some of our math brains need it broken down a little bit more. It's fine. Depends on what you need. Okay? All right, let me erase this part. All right, so if we have 3 and 3/8 plus 1 and 5/8. All right, again, depends on what you need. If you can add your whole numbers and then add your fractions and come up with your answer, that's fine. If it helps you to break it down, write your whole numbers out. 3 plus 1, and why did I pick up this blue marker again? It wants to stop. 3 plus 1 is 4. And then we add up our fractions. 3/8 plus 5/8. Well, we have a common denominator, 8. So we know 8 plus 8 equals 8. Denominator stays the same. We add up our numerators. 3 plus 5, that's 8. Well, we know 8/8 equals a whole, right? So we have 1 whole plus 4 wholes. 4 plus 1 equals 5. So we'd have 5 wholes. Okay? All right. So if we have, we'll do just a couple more problems. We have 3 and 4/6 plus 2 and 5/6. Okay? Again, add up your whole numbers, add up your fractions. 3 plus 2, that equals 5. And then add up your fractions. We have 4/6 plus 5/6. Denominators are the same. 6. Add up your numerators. 4 plus 5. That equals 9/6. That's greater than a whole, isn't it? So again, if you need the number bond, draw it. We have 6/6, which gives a whole. And then we have 3/6. So we have a whole and 3/6. What do we know is equivalent to 3/6? A half. You're exactly right. So 1 and 3/6. I'm going to write this down here. We had 5 holes to begin with, right? And then we have 1 hole and 3/6, which we just said is equivalent to a half. So we have 6 and 1/2. Let's do one more problem. All right, so we have 1 9/12 plus 1 7/12. All right, again, whole numbers plus whole numbers. 1 plus 1, that equals to 2. Then we have our fractions, 9/12 plus 7/12. Denominator stays the same, 12. Add up your numerators, 9 plus 7, that's 16. So we have 16/12, which I know is greater than a whole. So we have 12/12 plus 4/12. Okay? So we have 1 whole and 4/12. Again, you've got 2 holes plus 1 hole, so we have 3 holes and 4/12. And 4/12 is equivalent to 1/3, isn't it? So we have 3 and 1/3. Okay? All right. Pages 200 plus 207. You could do the additional pages as extra practice. And just keep practicing. And we'll see you next video. All right. Thank you.